You're watching Public Affairs. Berkowitz is my name, and politics is our game. And we will be doing lots of politics and public policy this evening because we have as our guest State Senator Mike Noland. And anybody watching, anybody breathing in the state of Illinois, reading the papers, even if you don't, turn on the news, you know the big thing, everybody thinks I would say, the big thing is state employee pension reform. No, because we're taping this show on Saturday, June 15th. The big thing is the people running for governor, really, right? In the Democratic field, I mean, Pat Quinn's got a challenger. His name would be Bill Daley. He said he's running. He didn't announce the usual way. No, he's a thoroughly modern guy. He did that by the web, right? Didn't he send out an I don't know.
You know,
they tell me this. Okay.
I didn't get the email, so I really can't tell you.
You didn't get the memo.
I didn't.
Mike, all right.
Sorry about that.
Are you supporting Bill Daley for governor?
Well, no.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, that's quite all right.
So the answer is no.
Well, let me just tell you. I would like to hear from him. I'd like to hear what proposals he may have to right our ship of state here. But Pat Quinn, I think, has done an admirable job. Yes, I do. And I think he's done the best that anybody could do.
So you're lining up and you're supporting Pat Quinn?
Thus far, I'm all
down the line.
I'm all in for Quinn.
Did you call him up and tell him that?
Oh, he knows it.
He knows that. You're
Absolutely.
there. All in for Quinn.
Yeah.
Because, it was kind of funny.
Unless I'm given a reason otherwise. I mean,
Well, here, let me give you a
I'm an
few reasons.
person, but I think he's done
I'm carrying water today
job.
for Bill Daley, okay? Because you apparently didn't hear this. If you watched WGN just the other night, I think it was yesterday, they told me, I asked if, Bill Daley would come out. Don't be offended, but I thought maybe he'd come out and do the show instead of you. I didn't have you yet, but I invited him first. Now, don't be offended.
I'm not.
And he said, Jeff, he's not doing any TV. Jenny Thienan, who must be getting really good in politics because she can just lie to your face, okay? She says he's not doing any TV. And then Jenny, don't take this personally, Jenny. Maybe you're just told to lie. He was on TV. He was being interviewed by Randy Bellisomo, who is hot. Can I say that? She is hot. No, and she was married to the late Carlos Hernandez Gomez, and I knew Carlos very well. He would like it that I described his wife as hot. Don't you think?
We're on tape, right?
We are on tape. If she's hot, she's hot.
Okay.
Randy, I don't mean any. And she's smart, so she's interviewing Bill Daley.
That's the more important attribute.
She's smart.
Yeah.
If I were as pretty as Randy, maybe I could have gotten to interview Bill. Okay, so she's interviewing Bill. And the big news here is not that Randy's hot. That might be news, but if anybody's seen her, she'd know that she's hot. No, the big news is Bill Daley said, you'll like this one. He said, come on, how could this be? We got these great resources in Illinois, we're a great state, and we have the second highest unemployment in the country. Did you know that? Is that right?
Well, it's not good. I mean, I know that we have, comparatively speaking, high unemployment.
So he might want to run. He might want to run against Pat Quinn on that. Now you're supporting Pat. What's your response to Bill Daley on that one? You're my surrogate today, okay?
Sure.
We'll get to pensions. I told you we do pensions, but this show, we improvise. We call audibles. That's better than Jay Cutler, right? Well. This show that's better than Jay Cutler. Because this show has a certain je ne sais quoi. I can feel it today. We have a certain je ne sais quoi. You understand? Okay. Do you have a certain je ne sais quoi?
A certain feel for things, a certain sense about
it's hard to describe a certain je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
But Senator Mike Noland has a certain je ne sais quoi, even though he's from Elgin. They have a je ne sais quoi in Elgin?
Hey, Elgin is the happening place. You should come out and visit us sometime.
He's a lawyer. He's in private practice. He's been a state senator for 6 years. Mike Boland, John Marshall Law School, right?
Yeah. Okay. Mike Boland was the guy from the Quad
Did I say Mike? Not Mike.
It's okay. I'm Mr. N.
Mike
Mr.
Noland.
B. That's right.
If I said Boland, I made that mistake. We had Mike Boland here.
That's all right.
This is Mike Noland, and you can find more about Mike Noland at...
Well, info@noland.org is my email, or you can just go to my website, which is simply noland.org.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so you were going to tell me if you're Pat Quinn and you're running against Billy Daley, and Billy says it's terrible, Illinois has the second highest unemployment in the country. What's your response? How do you defend Pat Quinn?
Well, as governor, I just signed a $31 billion capital bill that's putting thousands of people to work all across the state. Our employment
But he's
levels
been
are
governor.
increasing.
He's been governor for how
actually.
many years now? He came in when Blagojevich was impeached. So he came in was it January of 2009, December 2009? December 2000, it's December 2008. So he's been there for 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, and now into June of 2013. 4.5 years.
Hey,
and you're telling me what he's done is he
Yeah.
just signed a bill to
Well,
get some
no,
jobs
well,
out
you're
there.
cutting me off. You're not allowing me to continue.
Why?
You know,
You
the
think,
thought.
I have a
I
certain
can't
je ne sais
understand
quoi.
why you
I
would
would
want
never
to do
cut you
that.
off.
But no,
go
he
ahead,
signed
tell
a small business tax credit that has helped put people also to work in small businesses throughout the state of Illinois. We've kept the corporate income tax competitive with our immediate neighbors. Businesses are moving to Illinois. We've had
Really?
Ford,
It's a destination
yes,
economy?
Ford,
Because we'll get to Kirk
Boeing.
Dillard.
We
You know
just,
Dillard's running on the other side. He says he wants to make Illinois a destination economy. You're telling me it's already a destination economy.
It is, absolutely.
But the
We
Illinois
have
Policy
built this-
Institute says we're losing population, we're losing jobs. Are you telling John Tillman, CEO of the Illinois Policy Institute, he's
We
wrong?
are not, Lucy, this is another thing too. It's the use, you can make statistics say anything that you want them to say, I suppose. No, it's true. We are comparing ourselves to other states. We are not growing as fast in population as we have.
How come?
Why? Because our weather, for one thing, there are a number
Bad
of
weather?
reasons.
You're going to blame it all
Well,
on
we
bad
don't
weather?
have as much sunshine as Texas and Florida. That's a fact. I think you and I would both agree on that.
What
Wouldn't
about
you say?
Iowa? Do we have as much
So
sunshine
we
as
don't-
Iowa? Are we doing as well as Iowa?
As far as sunshine,
Jobs, as far as jobs? Because they got some
think,
bad
well,
weather too.
They don't.
Let's be
We
fair.
have the 5th largest economy in the nation. We have the 20th largest economy in the world.
But it's not growing very rapidly.
Large economies tend not to. Bodies at rest tend to stay at rest. Bodies
So,
in motion tend to stay in
But
motion.
the tax, you
The
guys,
reason why we're not
Democrats-
growing nearly as fast as other states, at least as far as job growth is concerned, is because we already have so many jobs here. Not that we shouldn't strive to do a better job of
How is
creating
it we're
jobs.
second? How is it we're second worst? You're not disputing that. If Billy Daley says we're second worst at unemployment rate in the country, there are other states that are large. There are other states that are advanced relative to other states. We're second worst.
Well,
Why
I don't.
would we
I
second
dispute. I dispute his.
You dispute
the
that?
fact. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to see where he's gathering his information.
Bill Daley wouldn't
So-
lie. Like he was chief of staff on the Obama administration. You're a supporter of Barack Obama, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Therefore, you
Absolutely.
supported Bill Daley when he was chief of staff.
Well, I commend him for his service
Okay.
to our country during that time, and I would imagine
He's been
that
a
he did
business
an awful
tycoon.
lot
He's
of
been
good.
a business tycoon, right? Do you respect that?
Well, to the extent that he's been ethical, and
Chase,
we don't know.
he was at Chase, right?
Okay.
Wasn't he at the utility? What was it, AT&T or Ameritech or something like that?
He may. I don't have firsthand knowledge of his resume and his vitae curae, but I will
It's
say
impressive. Look, his brother.
Fair enough.
His
Fair
brother.
enough.
His brother. We'll get to that. Who's his brother?
what grasp of state policy does he have if he doesn't understand
It's in his
what the
blood.
unemployment
It's in
rate
his
is?
blood.
Here's another thing too. You have to. I think the more important question is if we're talking about where we're first or last, and more importantly, where we're last and where we can improve. Let's talk about our credit rating and how the pensions are affecting
We'll get to
our
the
overall
pensions.
credit rating.
We'll get to the pensions soon.
Well, let's
I
talk
want to
about
stop for a second.
our state spending.
No, but wait a
and
second.
how-
You're going to the pensions. We were
Yeah.
just downgraded on credit, and Pat Quinn's been there for 4.5 years, and he hasn't fixed the state employee pension problem. And Bill Daley is saying that's the one major reason he's running. He's been saying that before he's running. He says Quinn doesn't provide leadership. If he had, he's saying he would have solved the pension problem. He would have had state employee pension reform.
Really?
This is what I'm carrying water today for Bill Daley. Bill, you want to come on the show now? I'm carrying your water, okay?
Yeah. Well,
It's a heavy job carrying all that water, too.
I dispute the whole notion that a governor alone can cure the pension crisis that we have. This has been a slow and steady spiral over the course of about 30 years into this fiscal abyss. And it's not for a governor to come in as a knight in
Shouldn't he
shining
propose
armor.
legislation?
It is for the legislature, Jeff, if I may. It's for the legislature.
you guys.
That's right. It is on us to pass, to put a bill on his desk that he can sign. Okay.
That's what he said, but shouldn't he propose? I always saw
he
they said
has.
like the president proposes,
Absolutely.
Congress disposes. Shouldn't the governor propose specific legislation and then the legislature disposes, the Illinois General Assembly? I understand that point, but shouldn't he propose not just a concept, not just saying you know, and I give this, Quinn has said they should increase, you guys should increase the employee contribution for state employee pensions, you should increase the retirement age, you should decrease the cost of living adjustment. Well, but he never proposed specific legislation saying how to do that.
Oh, but wait a second.
Shouldn't he do that?
I think you've just answered the question. He has provided different ideas and different criteria, a framework for which
couldn't he draft the legislation? He went to Georgetown Law School, I believe. It's a damn good law school, really. Or was it Northwestern? One of those two. Both good law schools, okay? Georgetown or Northwestern. I should know this, folks, if I were doing a better job, but I throw myself at the mercy of the court. I should know. But I know he went to one of those two. I'm guessing, I don't know. I'm guessing Northwestern. Well, so if you go to Northwestern, you go to Georgetown Law School, both fine law schools, shouldn't you be able to propose specific legislation? And you got a staff.
Well,
he's never sent a bill.
I'm going to tell you, Jeff,
he's never sent
give me a chance to respond.
No, but it is true. Just answer this one question. Okay. And I'm going to let you off the stand, all right?
Okay.
I get to play lawyer.
No, keep me on the stand. I'm happy to. Just let me respond to your questions.
Well, try this one.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you, as governor, with that kind of a sharp legal background and a staff, shouldn't you be able to propose specific legislation and call it the Pat Quinn pension reform bill, okay? Got a name. He's never done that, has he? He's never proposed any specific legislation to the General Assembly to deal with state employee pension reform. Yes or no?
No, absolutely no. He has supported.
No, he has?
Ultimately, you have to have a Senate or a House sponsor for legislation.
Right, but he has give
supported.
They will carry your water.
Supportive
he should give them the bill. He never gave them a bill, did he?
I'm not sure that is either a necessary or sufficient condition to passing pension reform.
It'd be a good start.
You need, and I think he's done that in supporting Speaker Madigan's version of pension reform.
He does support the House bill. That's what you're saying.
Yes, he does.
What's the numbers? That's now in the Senate. What's the Senate
number? Well, it'll give
that?
us more. Those numbers are a matter of conjecture.
Is that 1 or 2404? Which one is the House bill?
Depending on when you're talking about it, because the Speaker has recently taken 2404 and changed it, has amended it to reflect his Senate Bill 1.
So now 2404 is his Senate Bill 1.
That's right. So, I mean, it's hard to keep track of. But let me just say,
we'll just call it the Madigan bill or the Cullerton bill.
That's fine.
Right? Okay.
So he has supported the Madigan bill. Okay. He has supported any bill that would be placed on his desk for him to sign and then to move onto the next level, whatever that level may be.
How much would that save in terms of how much of the $100 billion underfunding? Some people say it's more.
Right.
How much of the $100 billion underfunding of the state employee pensions would that address? And about half? $50 billion or so?
Well, and those same people would dispute how much is going to be saved.
What's your estimate?
So we'll
give me a ballpark number.
The Madigan plan?
Yeah.
About $60 billion.
Okay.
Perhaps,
now the Cullerton plan, which is this plan you support, right?
That's right. Well,
currently.
That's right.
Currently, some people say it doesn't even save half that. Doesn't even save $30 billion, doesn't save $20 billion. Do you
Some people say it'll save $40 billion.
What do you say?
I will say it will save. I'll split the difference. We'll say $35 billion. But the point,
so one saves $60 billion and one does $35. Why don't you support the House bill?
The important point is that we're going to be moving something along. It is something that is more politically viable. It will pass both chambers. It has already passed the Senate. We have every reason to believe that it will pass the House. Why not pass something that will, first and foremost, provide a solution, whether it's the full loaf that we desire or not? It is something that will move on to the governor, and that is constitutional. So that if it's challenged, we win two ways. We have cost savings. We're moving cost savings in motion.
We're down in the weeds. So we're down in the weeds. We're so far in the weeds.
And
I
we
can't
will
even
pass
see
muster
you,
in the Supreme Court.
Mike,
yeah.
Let's get back to basics.
Okay.
The most powerful politician in the state of Illinois. What's his name?
I think that's a matter of
Come
opinion.
On. What would everybody say?
I think his name is John Cullerton, quite honestly.
Do you think he's more powerful than the
Yes.
Speaker of the House, Mike Madigan?
I ascribe to the Abraham Lincoln philosophy that it is right that makes might, not might.
But you would agree with me, most people, most pundits, most analysts, most of the media would say Speaker Mike Madigan is the most powerful politician in the state of Illinois. Most people would say that who are pundits, right?
Well, that's why they're pundits, and they're not actually elected officials.
Well, that may be.
So I would say that
I
think we're in the process of finding the contrary.
And number two would be John Cullerton, right? You say he's number one. But clearly the two most powerful politicians in the state of Illinois are Senate President Cullerton, House Speaker Mike Madigan.
Arguably.
Right? Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Quinn's
I would say,
like third or fourth or fifth. He's kind of down there, right?
Well,
he's somewhere.
He does sign legislation. So ultimately, the bill does come to him, and he can veto. He can selectively amend a piece of legislation.
You guys in the General Assembly raised taxes. Some would say 66% a few years ago when you boosted the income tax from 3% to 5%. 2% over 3%, 66% increase. A $6 billion revenue increase for the state of Illinois, right? You guys did that. You supported that.
I did not.
You didn't support, you didn't vote for that?
I did not.
Okay.
I'll be careful here.
The Democrats pushed that through. The Democrats had strong majorities in the House and the Senate. Now they have super majorities. As people said, Madigan and Cullerton want that. They got together in the middle of the night and got it done, right?
Yes.
And the mushrooms in the House and whatever you call it in the Senate, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you guys or your colleagues, and not you, went along with that. And so what Tom Cross, now I'm carrying water for Tom Cross. So yeah, I carry water for you. But Tom
Just
Cross,
as long as you're not carrying the cross.
But Tom Cross, not Time on the Cross, in honor of the late Bob Fogel, who wrote Time on the Cross.
Gotcha.
And we say that with all due respect, and R.I.P. for Bob Fogel, the Nobel Prize laureate in economics from the University of Chicago, who passed away just this week.
Yeah.
We pay homage to Robert Fogel.
As well we should.
As well we should. But Tom Cross said a few days ago, he said, come on, if Madigan and Cullerton wanted this pension reform to pass, they would do it in a heartbeat. He said, everybody knows they could do this. They did this with the tax increase. He said, and they said, oh, are you saying it's all a charade? He said, yes. And the media shouted out, are you saying essentially this is just a little fight to sort of make things difficult for Pat Quinn so Lisa Madigan can come in, the Speaker's daughter, and become governor? Yeah. And he said yes. So Cross said that. Okay? You agree with Cross's analysis? Now we're not talking about a pundit. Now we're talking about a Republican minority leader who apparently is ready to give up that to run for Attorney General when Lisa Madigan decides to run for governor. We're talking about Tom Cross. Tom Cross said that. Yeah. You agree with Tom?
Not necessarily.
I'm paraphrasing.
I understand. And there isn't anybody that serves in the General Assembly that would, I think, truthfully be able to say that they haven't wondered whether or not that was true. But I think at the same time, you have to understand that these are two individuals who have been in power for a very long time. That's true. John Cullerton as Senate President, not nearly as long as Speaker Michael Madigan. I have had an opportunity to work with John Cullerton, much more so than I have with Speaker Madigan. I've hardly ever really sat down and worked with
You're a Senate guy, you're a Cullerton guy, everybody knows that. We're out of the weeds, now we're talking, we're talking basics.
But this is important.
Now people can understand this.
That's right.
You're in the state Senate, Cullerton's your guy, you're going to back him.
But this is the point.
You know him, you respect him, you admire him, you're a Cullerton guy.
Yeah, but I understand he's also a politician, and I think we all understand that politicians aren't necessarily the most candid of individuals. They don't have that reputation.
They make deals and they don't always tell you about the deals.
Right. But I have to believe that President John Cullerton, and I've seen this as he's worked through this. I mean, there's been an incredible amount of energy devoted to solving the pension, what has really turned out to be a conundrum. And I think that he is also bargaining in good faith. I think that he is doing everything that he can to put something forward that the governor can sign that will pass
Quinn
constitutional
would
muster.
sign anything.
Now, I
Quinn
think
Quinn would sign. I could give him a check and he'd sign it. Okay?
But I don't think that President Cullerton is doing this with Lisa Madigan's career in mind. I think that he's doing it with the
Mike
in
wants
the
it,
best
and
interest.
Cullerton wants to go along.
I'm not so
with
sure
the Speaker.
convinced of that either.
He'll get something.
And I'm
going to
tell you something.
That's the deal.
I'm going to tell you something,
deal.
and I'm going to look into the camera as I say this and say that I think that Speaker Madigan is less interested in his daughter being Attorney General than he is in retaining power for himself.
Well, he'd like to
and
do
whatever
both, but
that
at some point he gives up that power, and he can't do it forever.
So I'm not so sure that I agree with.
You can take nothing with us.
With Majority Leader Cross.
You can take nothing with you to the next earth.
Yeah.
When we don't know, you can take your soul. All Speaker Mike gets to do, and he'll die. I will die. You will die. We'll all die. There's nothing. The only two things we know that's certain in this life: death and taxes. Right. Mm-hmm. And in Illinois, we certainly know it's taxes.
And you know that we're one of the most under-taxed states in the nation.
Some would say. Ralph Retiree might say that.
Some would say, just look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie.
Tillman says, John Tillman, he's got proof that goes the other way. John Tillman, CEO of the Illinois Policy Institute, he says clearly we're not undertaxed. We're overtaxed.
He's talking about local taxes. I'm talking about state taxes.
Overall, state, local,
and
everything.
We're
the
low average as far as overall taxes.
Do you think if our unemployment rate is high and people are leaving the state, do you think maybe that indicates taxes being high or low?
Let's talk about
Don't people usually
else.
flee from high taxes?
Well, let's stay on the pension issue for just a moment, okay? Because the Speaker has said, if people were courageous, they'd vote for his plan. Let me just say this. I think also, too, one of the things that we're not talking about that we absolutely have to talk about, and everybody feels uncomfortable talking about, is revenue. Okay, and how we're actually going to.
But before we do, just let me just say,
be fair.
To be fair, on the screen on you right now, which says pension reform factors. Let's go back. Pension reform factors, folks. If we can go back to that graphic, because it was set A, and it says employee contribution increase, and it says retirement age increase, and retiree COLA, cost of living adjustment. I've heard people call in, state employees complain. So if messing with my COLA, I was guaranteed by the Constitution a 3% increase for life. No, you weren't, sir. That's what the person should have told you and didn't when you called in. Nobody was guaranteed a 3% increase for life, were they, in the Constitution?
No.
No. They said your pension will not be diminished. But it was supposed, cost of living adjustment is supposed to be, you adjust the pension in a line with cost of living. And so if the CPI, Consumer Price Index, goes up 1.5%, it was supposed to go up 1.5%. But no, sorry, but the buffoons in the state legislature, you weren't there, they set the law so it would go up 3% automatically, right? No matter what, right? People have been getting 3% increases in their state employee pensions, 3%, even though CPI was less, right?
Which was a statutory
It's a stupid statute.
Okay.
Okay, the legislature, in the words of my esteemed daughter, they were taking stupid pills.
And it has created
reliance.
They worked.
Okay.
Things, legal terms that,
well, maybe they relied.
Are a little bit far into the weeds.
You have to be reasonable.
But things that you have to understand.
Detrimental reliance, we understand Section 45, Restatement of Contracts. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're a lawyer. Detrimental reliance, it has to be reasonable. You have to be stupid to rely on a stupid law continuing forever.
And you know what is unreasonable?
The Constitution didn't say we're stupid.
The fact that we spend less on our citizens in this state than any other state in the nation. That is unreasonable.
We spend less on what?
And this pension problem.
We spend less what?
Less per capita on our residents and our citizens in the state of Illinois than we do than any other state in the nation. And that is unreasonable.
Not per capita.
And that is at the heart of what this problem is.
That's people make adjustments by income and it goes down. If you say per capita spending, forget income.
At the state level.
Take state level. It doesn't say, you don't do state level. If you're a taxpayer, you want to know, what do I pay in property taxes, which is local? What do I pay in state income taxes? What do I pay in sales taxes, which is both county and state? The whole schmear other than federal, okay?
And you have control over that at the local level.
Illinois is high. It's a high taxing state. It's a high spending state. When you include your property tax, your income tax, your sales tax, your tax on,
breathing,
your tax on living, whatever. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a high tax state.
That's the kind
of
hyperbola that prevents us from actually addressing these problems head on.
Just reporting the facts.
Yeah, I'm telling you that the facts don't bear that out. We'll have to take a show to show you that we are at the low end.
Go to IllinoisPolicy.org. Illinois Policy, the Illinois Policy Institute.
That's right.
Go to the Heartland.
Go
to the Heartland Institute, where you can find about 10 principles of school choice. There's so many thoughtful organizations that provide information on the state, local, and federal
yet
level.
Not without their bias. So let us, we need to do, and this is what we do by committee.
The Heartland is biased in favor of the free market. Do you like the free market?
When it works.
Is it a good bias to have, free market? If you can have, Mike, if you can have the free market on the right, or you can have the Soviet Union Politburo on the left, which would you go with? I'm going with the free market.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I love free enterprises.
We only have a few minutes left, so we got to be quick. Yeah. But going back to the governor's race, this is interesting. Bill Daley said to Randy Bellosomo on the WG interview, Illinois has the worst education system in the country. I was thinking, okay, well, Bill Daley, his brother was Mayor Richard M. Daley. He was mayor for 22 years. 400,000 students in the CPS, that's 20% of the students across the state of Illinois. Many would say that's the worst education system anywhere. But if Bill Daley is saying Illinois has the worst education system, he must also be saying Chicago is a major component of that. His brother was responsible for that. So is Bill Daley saying we should elect him governor even though he's running on a bad education system that his brother was responsible for? In short, Bill Daley, come and tell us, but are you saying the Illinois electorate is stupid? They're not going to go through the steps I just looked at and said, make Bill Daley your next governor because the education system is terrible. Bill Daley's brother, Mayor Richard M. Daley, he was responsible for much of that terrible education system, and yet we make his brother governor?
Well, the proper
Pat Quinn, I'm carrying water for you today.
The proper response to that is we have the worst funded education system in the nation.
No, we don't.
Oh, yes, we do.
$15,000 per kid per year in the CPS. It's across the state of Illinois. Total spending for education runs about total property, local tax, property tax, and state, and federal. We spend about $11,000 per kid per year in the state of Illinois. Many of those areas are low-cost areas. We spend $15,000 in Chicago per kid per year. $15,000 per kid per year. You don't think they're
obviously not everywhere?
You think Arkansas they're spending more? Of course not.
Well, I can tell you,
of course not.
As a
you think
ratio,
Mississippi they're spending more?
As a ratio,
they're not even spending more in Iowa.
Of their state budget to gross domestic product.
Ratios. Ratios.
In Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, they all spend more than we do, and that includes education. Look, we do basically three things here in the state of Illinois. We educate, we medicate, and we incarcerate. And I can assure you, based on the problems that we have had, this abyss that we have been slowly spiraling in over the last 30 years.
We do none of those things well. We do none of those things
Bill
well.
Daley's brother and Speaker Madigan certainly had a hand in. That is ultimately the problem here.
Okay, here's the thing. So the Democratic field now, it's Bill Daley, it's Pat Quinn, probably Lisa Madigan. The Republican field is Bill Brady, Kirk Dillard, Dan Rutherford, and Bruce Rauner. It's all been set. You saw this. There's the Democratic field up there. Quinn, Madigan, Daley. Let's get the Republican field up there if we can. You don't need to look there. Yeah. I'm telling you, it says Rauner, it says Brady, it says Dillard,
That's the problem.
Rutherford.
You keep telling me, don't look there.
Well, you can look. You'll look. I'm doing you a favor. You'll look
when
distorted.
we look where we need to, we start solving problems.
Okay, the Republicans have their field probably set. Okay, they haven't all announced yet. Lisa hasn't announced. Just encapsulate this. I'm going to give you a minute or two to close with it.
All right.
You're defending Quinn. You're defending your General Assembly. How would you get state employee pension reform done? What would it look like to you, and how would you get it done in the next, we're taping this June 15th, the next month or two?
Well,
I'm going to be quiet.
That's all right. I would take the bill that the Senate passed, the 2404, that has yes, it is the union negotiated bill, but one that at least gets us to about $30 billion of savings, all right? Not a full measure, not all that we want or need. Then I would start talking seriously about the cost shift. You know, even Milton Friedman would say that there is no free lunch. So you take that Senate bill, you already passed the Senate, you would get the House, you would persuade Mike Madigan, Speaker, to introduce it. Should I ever have that that influence.
And your guy, Pat Quinn, would somehow do it, and then he could run for governor saying he accomplished this. Is that the scenario you're talking about? We only got 45 seconds left, so I'm trying to help you.
Pat Quinn's candidacy does not rise or fall on pensions. He may believe that, he may say that at this point.
What does it rise or fall on?
Being honest with people, telling them the truth, no matter how difficult it is.
They'll vote for him for that?
Absolutely.
That's his major accomplishment?
He is more trustworthy than any of the other prospective